Welcome. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. My name is Jackie Lee. I'm the founder of Recruit My Friends, and I graduated from Waterloo in 2006 with a Bachelor of Science. I'm so honored to host this event tonight because we have two very special individuals to the Waterloo community. The first is our president, Feridun Hamdullahpur, and the second is Calvin Choi, who is the chairman of AMTD Group. I wanted to introduce both of them quickly. Feridun, as you know, has been with us since 2009. He originally joined us as a professor in mechatronics and mechanical engineering, as well as the provost. And he then in 2010 took the position of president. He is more recently going to be ending his term, 2 terms as president. And we want to make sure we thank him and honor him today for all of his contributions, because they are plentiful. He actually had joined us from Carleton University, and before that, he had studied mechanical engineering in Istanbul, and then came to Dalhousie for his PhD in chemical engineering. So he came with a very unique advantage to bring the Waterloo community, especially with our engineering background. Feridun, thank you so much for joining us. In your time, you have made sure that Waterloo has stayed 26 consecutive years as most innovative university in Canada. So thank you so much. Calvin is a very interesting graduate, one of our prized alum. He's given back and contributed so much, and we're going to speak more to his AMTD scholarships and his programs later today. He graduated in 2001 with a Bachelor of Arts, and he's a seasoned investment banker with over 15 years of experience in international banking. Most notably, the World Economic Forum actually named him a young global leader. So that's quite a prestigious and well-given prized possession there. In 2016, he was also named amongst the FinTech Finance 35 by Institutional Investor magazine. So again, Calvin, thank you so much for being with us today. We look forward to learning from your nuggets of wisdom from both of you. As we start today, I wanted to make sure that we give our land acknowledgement, as is our practice with the University of Waterloo. I'm broadcasting in St. Catharines, Ontario. Due to the COVID-19 crisis, I have been back in Ontario since the beginning. And St. Catharines is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe tribes. This area and territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties, and it's within the land protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, this gathering place is still home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. And we offer this land acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples of Canada. And I recognize this is a very small but significant and important sign of respect to open the dialogue and to learn the history of our land that we live and work on. So without further ado, I'd like to start off our first topic. Very specifically, I'd like to talk about the fact that we are now really entering into a borderless world in 2021. We've seen the COVID-19 crisis hit and sweep our entire world. And in many ways, it was dividing nations. But at the same time, we have seen so much unification as well. And with the University of Waterloo, we're very lucky in our diversity, which we'll also speak to later today, that we have such a diverse group of students and alumni that are worldwide. And so we want to talk today about how we as a community can come together. We know that most of the community today is gathering from Asia, and we're very excited to talk about both East and West. And with that being said, Feridun, I'd like to start off with you talking about internationalization and diversification. You have seen over the last 10 or really 11 years with us at the University of Waterloo, a multitude of students coming from all over the world, and you've seen so many different new advances that the university has put out. When we talk about internationalization, and we see so much opportunity in every alum that graduates and what they bring to the table, how do you feel in terms of what we can do at this time, because we are going into a brand new world and we want to build back better?
Thank you, Jackie. And thank you so much also for your land acknowledgement. I will also offer, as while we cannot be together on the University of Waterloo campus to celebrate this event, it is equally important to recognize and acknowledge that the University of Waterloo is situated on the Haldimand Tract, the land 6 miles on each side of the Grand River granted to Haudenosaunee of Six Nations by the Haldeman Treaty of 1784. The land inside and surrounding the Haldeman Tract, including our Stratford campus, is the traditional territory of the Ottawandaron, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee. I also acknowledge and recognize this area is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis groups. As you said, we are so grateful for our tremendously rich heritage, culture, and it's important to acknowledge them. I just want to pause for a moment and say, well, do you want to see the impact of internationalization, being international? Don't look too far, just look around, and you will see how incredibly impactful it is. That we all three of us here, we bring a very unique features of internationalization. But from earlier on in my career, I wanted to make sure that not just from one perspective, but from a much broader perspective, set of perspectives, internationalization, sometimes we use the word globalization, has to be an integral part of whether it's a business, whether it's a university, whether it's government you're running, it has to be integrated into our plans. At the University of Waterloo, in our strategic plan, we put three I's together and we multiplied them. One of them was innovation. The other one is internationalization, and because it has to be in there, and having students, international students, coming to choose to study at the University of Waterloo is an integral part of it. There are so many other pieces that we connect with the world, but just look at it from the student perspective. I cannot think of better bridges to the world. As you know, our theme is building bridges. They are the most active, most impactful bridges that we build. It's not just coming to a university or coming to the University of Waterloo to get a degree. That is important. That's tremendously important. But what you do after your degree or during, we benefit from each unique perspective and cultures they bring to the university, to the country, and vice versa, what they will take back and maintain that connection forever. And Calvin is a fantastic example of that. When every time we get together, we talk about his memories, his days, the value of studying at the University of Waterloo. So when you multiply this by thousands, the enormous importance of it is multiplied. But Jackie, one last word. I know that I can keep going, and please feel free to stop me. I have this bad habit of keep going. But the global problems, the challenges we are facing, they are so incredibly complex and multidimensional that not one single institution, not one single country is capable of providing solutions. We need to work together with our research capabilities, with our students, with our business connections, so they are all lumped together. And that is the beauty of being in the international arena.
Absolutely. And Faridun, we always enjoy listening to your wisdom, so never hold back today. It's an honor. You've hit on so many points here that we'll expand on today. And Calvin, I wanted to turn it over to you because you did come originally from Hong Kong, came to study at University of Waterloo here in Canada, and then returned as well. And you've really built such a strong community there, both amongst Waterloo alum and beyond. And so let's talk a little bit about your experience at Waterloo and the return to Hong Kong.
Well, first of all, it's my great honor today to be with both of you. I think, of course, Faridun is always a person that we all respect so much, having leading the university community. But also, it's good to meet with many alumni, successful ones, and Jackie. I think, as we said, there are many things that we can explore with you, but with many fellow alumni globally. So I think, from my Waterloo experience, I think it's not something that I see as a stop by the time I graduated. I think thanks to Ferdinand and also the university community to re-engaging and continuously connect with us. Since the time after we graduated, and by the time even I go many miles away, I think all the way to Hong Kong. But then, the university always, come to visit, to connect, to build the link and connect the dots. I think this is very much important because I feel strongly that we are not only the most innovative university in Canada, but we are a world university. So basically, with worldwide alumni, but also with also many very good connectivity with the world community. So from my end, I study chartered accountancy at the university. Of course, it's a very good program, leading the way for the professional destination. But I think what's actually more great that I always feel thankful to the university is really the cooperative learning program that allow us. I'm sure same to you, Jackie, and to all the alumni listening, that allow us to have a more practical learning approach, that we study, we practice, when we learn at the job. I think it really accelerates and expedite our overall understanding. And I think, it helps, especially for the professional setting. So I think, I had the good opportunity to join Arthur Anderson at that time through the co-op placement, and later on continue with AA. And now that I think, still my many friends, good friends, old friends, I think are still surrounding that community and extending, of course, to the newer community as well. So I see that, the Waterloo experience really provided me with a solid foundation.
Absolutely. It's interesting too to hear you speak about your time at Waterloo, because I had a very similar experience. It was many times the extracurriculars, the things outside of the classroom that really is the spirit of Waterloo. Bar none, I don't think anyone can compete with us in terms of entrepreneurship and the companies that are coming out of the university. It's simply amazing to see. We started an organization called Impact Entrepreneurship Group back in 2004. And that then later we ended up working with Sean Van Koenen, the first director of Velocity, to get that off the ground as the student body. And it's just amazing to see where Velocity has gone. There are many unicorn companies that have come out of that now, and the spirit and what happens on campus is so much just outside of the classrooms as well. And so you've really touched on quite a few things there. I want to talk about a little bit of the diversity and equality side of things as well, because of the times that we're living in. And we're speaking with the Asian community today, particularly. Here, as we've seen in North America, it has been a very tough and rigorous time for the Asian community, given the stigma with the COVID-19 crisis and the hashtag Stop Asian Hate. Number of friends of mine, we're in a founders group out in the Bay Area, and it has very notable founders in there, even the founder of Zoom, YouTube, and a few other major companies. We decided to come together about 2.5 weeks ago and discuss what can we do with regards to equality right now here in North America. And really, we decided to take a couple of actions. One of them was taking out an ad in the Wall Street Journal. And it was a full-page ad. We all contributed to that just to start putting some names down to say and to see the impact of North American executive and Asian American executives and founders. The list was phenomenal. And in this day and age, I know, Ferdinand, you're seeing probably on campus, it's a very different time for quality, and especially given that students are not having the regular experience. So there's some isolation there, naturally. But I'd like to talk a bit about diversity and equality and what you're seeing, Ferdinand, both on campus and how we as alum can get involved and help.
Yeah. Jackie, I'm glad that you brought this subject topic up, because it is incredibly important to me as an individual and as also a university president. I'm gonna just touch on two things. One is right at the beginning of the pandemic, when people started talking about where it came from, the origin, and the person who then was the president of the United States started throwing these really unfounded accusations, I immediately wanted to reach out to our students, all of them, but particularly our students of Asian origin. And I reassured them that they were ours. They were our students. They were not international students. They were our students. They were members of our family. And we will be, treating this as a family affair, that they should not feel intimidated. They should not feel that they're left alone. They were there and went beyond that. I went those days. I could still make physical contacts, gatherings, and I did as many of those as I could to tell them that be very proud of who you are, and don't ever feel that you have any role in there. And we kept renewing this message. At the same time, I reached out to my university president colleagues in China, and said, "Look, we are here. We are here for you. We are here for each other." And when things started getting really messy in Canada, they all reached out back to me and said, "Well, we appreciate it. We are here for you too." Coming back to the diversity thing, I think the University of Waterloo is in a very unique position. When I looked at our composition of our student body, just before the student body, Jackie, our faculty members, about 1,400 faculty members, among us, we speak 60 plus different languages. Okay, so it is fabulously diverse. And with our students too, whether they are first generation, second generation, we come from all around the world. The University of Waterloo made I need to say this, a very courageous decision by appointing me as their president, who was not born in Canada. Okay. And I cannot be more proud of university's openness to diversity and inclusivity and equity. However, we didn't want to take it for granted. We needed to put certain policy as well as structural, initiatives in place. Thanks to that, we have an incredibly effective Office of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusivity, including human rights. We are not just a narrowly focused institution saying that you're here for a degree. No, you are here at the university for your lifetime experience. We are very interested in while you're at the university, but we are equally interested in how you will be doing after University of Waterloo. And for that one, we have to bring that world that is connected, that is incredibly respectful and understands the world. Jackie, just 30 more seconds. Yesterday and day before, I had the opportunity and privilege of attending the Nobel Summit organized by the U.S. academies. And one of the guests was Dalai Lama. And he said, listen, if we want to really find solutions to problems, let's stop saying that my country, my university, my business. Let's say we are all in this together. So it is incredibly stupid, okay, if I may use this word, to look at people and say, well, your color is this, you're from this country, we are all in this together. We all belong to this earth. And so let's fulfill our responsibilities. And I'm really, really glad that the University of Waterloo has understood this for a long time ago. And we are not just preaching, we are practicing, we are making it happen, that this university belongs to everybody and every student, local, international, doesn't matter. When they are here on our campus, they belong to where we are. So I will stop here. It's an incredibly important and sensitive topic for me.
It is, and you've really championed it during your tenure as president. And I really appreciated your tweets that you put out shortly after said person said such things. And we as the Canadians, are always very polite about these things. But that for me was it had crossed a line, and certainly made me feel a sense of a bit of a target. And that was very, I grew up in the Waterloo region, and speaking to the diversity, Waterloo region at the time, before I came to University of Waterloo, wasn't the most diverse place. So high school wasn't really diverse. And then I went down the street to the University of Waterloo, and it was like a culture shock. I couldn't believe my eyes. And I also loved experiencing all of the foods from many different friends from different cultures. And I think that's such a key part of our Waterloo experience is I'm sure Calvin, it's the same thing, that we have people all over the world that we can go visit and see because of who Waterloo attracts. And I have to say, I work in the talent space, obviously with my recruiting firm, but I see, again, bar none, Waterloo outbeats as because of the co-op program, outbeats, any major university in the States or college. We see it all the time. We actually see the data points. And I think that Waterloo experience of being introduced to people from different nationalities and backgrounds is so different and unique in Canada, or really anywhere in the world. It would be hard to find another university that has such a breadth of that many ethnic backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds and whatnot. And so Calvin, maybe let's talk on that, both your experience on and off campus afterwards and diversity.
Yeah, I think, what Ferdinand has been talking about, the open diversity, and also how we promote more of connectivity with the communities, right? Care for the society. I think it's something that, Waterloo students, we are very much different. I see there are several characteristics of Waterloo students. One is that we are all very, brave to embrace challenges, opportunities. So, that's also the entrepreneurship that we have. And I think, I'm still using BlackBerry. And, then the many companies, good companies, I think, incubated from the university spirit. I think similarly, exactly. Similarly, even for AMTD or the new AMTD, when I built it several years ago, I took on the entrepreneurship approach, making every of the team members not thinking about as a worker, but as an entrepreneur. I think that is also inbuilt from the Waterloo spirit. I think number two is that care for the societies. I think for the communities, not only care for diversity, but also the openness, right? I see that Waterloo students, we are all very down to earth, very open, very flexible, but a lot caring about the surroundings, and that also interlinked with the innovations. But then we care for how to make the world better. So that from the first day I created the company, I set up the charity foundation, AMTD Charity Foundation, and I would feel that that is something that could most empower and myself, and also enable the team. That we know that we work so hard, I think to build a company, but everything that we build are so much interlinked with the local communities, but onward extending out, not only from local to regional, hopefully to global. When ultimately to connect back to Canada. I think Ferdinand would know that we have plans for the charity foundation of AMTD to build the linkage or set up something in North America, Toronto, New York, and other places, and ultimately to provide more of a support or caring to the world communities. But that is so much important, I think, as the corporate values, and actually what's we believe in terms of the overall fundamentals of how we build a company. I think then the third point I think is really about the university linkages. I always want to engage more, I think, with the university, not only to help with the new talents, but also I think to recruit more the core students. So I think that is something great, and you don't see in many other university. That because of the co-op program is worldwide placement. So actually, I got my first placement, as I said, with Anderson. But at that time, it's actually from Anderson, Arthur Anderson, Toronto, into a placement through the university into Afghanistan, Hong Kong. So I think that is something amazing, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to get a job back in Hong Kong. Even though I was born in Hong Kong, but I spent all the times or years of growing up in Canada. So it's the bringing back home, but two homes, right? As a Canadian, but also going back to Hong Kong. Then through the university linkage to a co-op program actually also helps that. So I think now that I think I see it very important, or with a mission to help more with developing more of the talents. So I think maybe Ferdinand can share a bit more later, because it's out of his mastermind, and also with lots of the good heart, I think, from him and also from the university. It's really about the how we partner with the university to create the AMTD postdoctorate scholar. So this scholar program is really to support postdoctorate talents, to support them, enable them to conduct researches, but into areas that could help the world. I mean, to put it in short, is how we could make the world a better world. But I think out of the university resources, all of the university faculty members' experience, so making this very meaningful.
I'm so glad you mentioned this as well, because you are right now going through the first cohort, really, of the AMTD scholars. Is that correct?
Correct.
Exactly.
Okay. And how can we find out more information? Will there be, I guess, an announcement with the University of Waterloo more formally? I think people are here to hear it first today, but will be, I guess, on the website or something like that, we could follow up and figure out, because it'll be great to hear and see which innovations and which researchers you've backed. So.
Then you want to tell a bit more about the scholar program?
Yes.
So Jackie, I'm sure Allison or Alex will send you the link to everybody, to the link to see that. I should add that it is the best postdoctoral program in Canada, and I'll dare to say that around the world, because the level of support is the highest for sure in Canada. And B, the diversity of the individuals. It's not just focused on science or business. It is very diverse. And these are incredibly talented individuals with a lot of depth and breadth into their scholarships. So to bring them all together, it makes it tremendously important. We have done the first tranche, and now, as Joanne mentioned earlier, we are going through the second, batch. So it is again, as Calvin mentioned, it is an incredibly important investment to bring those individuals from various parts of the world together. I should mention another thing very quickly. Again, earlier, it almost brought tears to my eyes. I really mean it. That when I heard that our alumni in the United Arab Emirates are working with our alumni in Israel, and they are building initiatives, things together. It's the best music to my ear that I could hear. So I hope we will see more of these things. Our alumni are bringing the world closer together. So this is wonderful. And what
Ferdinand is you bringing the world of the alumni closer together.
That's right. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, because it's those types of relationships and building those types of bridges that in the past have been known not to really be building in those avenues. That I think it is through research and innovation, and through institutions like the University of Waterloo that give that are the catalyst to do this and to change the world. It takes visionaries like Calvin, like yourself, to fund it. So thank you. We appreciate everything that you're doing with the organization and thought leadership and financing as well. I want to talk a little bit at a talent level and futurism level now for the remainder of the conversation, because I think now in 2021, we are experiencing the automation era, and this is a fascinating time to be alive. It's probably one of the most exciting times in humanity. Even though we've seen that the overall feeling from the last year due to the COVID-19 pandemic has been a bit of a negative feeling at times because of the barriers that it has put forth. However, we will get through this. and we are building back better. And we're also seeing that it actually accelerated numerous things, of course, in the science community, certainly, as well as bringing about a new future where we get to build back better. We're also seeing, of course, in the West, new change in power, which is really taking science to the forefront, which is excellent and exciting to see. And I think it's even more important for the East and West to come together. And again, I think Waterloo is probably one of the only universities that has alumni in the magnitudes that we do, that are working in these different economies in these different regions of the world. So Calvin, I'd like to pose some of the questions to you now and what you see. Because of your background and you're at the verge of fintech, you see what is going on before most of the rest of the world sees it. That's what's really interesting in investment banking and seeing where the money is put forth. What is sort of exciting to you? Because I'll bring up a couple of other areas later, but what's exciting to you and what you're seeing in terms of this circular economy and where we're going with the world of innovation?
Well, I think first of all, I think I agree very much with you saying that we are all in different ways trying to make the world a better one. I think right now, I think the COVID putting so much pressure or sensitivity check, I think, over the economies. Despite that, of course, the economies or the stock markets or the capital markets are always factoring in future forecasts. But now that I think the forecasts are no longer easy as like before, because we are keep seeing new norms or newer norms, right? So then, but then I think the human race, we are very much, adapting in a quick way. Science innovations or the way that how we respond to challenges will only make us stronger and more resilient into the future. I think what's actually more importantly, I think what we see is really the digitalization, I think, for the whole world. I think just like now that, we are all in different places, the few of us, but we connected seamlessly. I think, over the many months, in the past, that now that I think, we are seeing the changes in the business work environment. I think, previously, I think people always prefer physical meeting, physical visits. And now that people more prefer, getting on Zoom, just do it right away, clean and nice, green, eco-friendly, everything is actually nice and fit. But then to make things most importantly more seamlessly, so making, I think everything to the most speed, efficiency, but at the same time, I think, we become all very much even more connected. So then I think the global world, I think, right now is, click into play in a way that you can no longer think of yourself as a local citizen or maybe even a regional citizen. And ultimately, I think it's a world citizenship that we are all embracing and building to this bigger whole world. And I think, what we see that I think financial services, of course, are enormous. I mean, from what I situated in Hong Kong, I think thanks to the Hong Kong government, I think, giving out a whole bunch of digital financial services license. I think we have the opportunity to partner with Xiaomi to obtain our digital bank license in Hong Kong. But then you are seeing that the whole landscape for Asia, but of course, I think similarly in Europe and in the whole world, that you're seeing the traditional organization embracing the more innovative approach to conduct digital financial solutions play. But at the same time, they are very focused digital licenses giving out. Then the world, actually, we are seeing that, the users, they are really benefiting from the overall. That, I think everything that, in the future, I would say that users will be with greater power to demand for the solutions. But equally that I think solutions will become more one-stop play. So this is also what we intend to build into within the overall AMTD group. We have AMTD Digital that we focus into building a one-stop digital solutions platform. So ultimately, I think no one can be digital everything, even though, this is the motto that we try to become. But then I think, the uniqueness in terms of, what your key strengths of your solution will pretty much, I think, rest with, what are your strengths, what are your ecosystem. So, from the first day that, I built out AMTD, even though back, 5 years ago, I've been focusing into building ecosystem, building connectivities, building a network of resources play. So I think all these are important, and ultimately, no matter how the world get changed digitally, but I think it's still getting us more connected between not only organization to organization, but really people to people, hearts to hearts. So I think it's really connecting the dots, and I think you will see more of a combined solution play into the future.
Excellent. I know that the connectivity and time zones and whatnot is something that's always on my mind, because we're expanding our business to both India and other areas of Asia, Hong Kong, etc. And so phone calls, of course, and Zoom meetings are either early in the mornings or late in the evenings, based on where I'm at now. And that connectivity, though, wouldn't be possible without the innovations and, of course, what's been forced here. In terms of what we're seeing, Faridin, of course, with connectivity and where you think the world is going in futurism, you obviously, especially going to such prestigious events, you're amongst world leaders in your conversations. I would only want to be a fly on the wall for some of those conversations. So talking a bit about futurism for the next 5 to 10 years, what do you see? And of course, how as Waterloo can we contribute back and or participate, whether it's new businesses we start, etc. But what is interesting or what catches your eye?
Yeah. Jackie, this is an incredibly important and exciting topic to talk about. And I wish we had several hours, okay, to really deeper dive into this. But I should tell you, there are some very obvious facts that Calvin alluded to, and he can also talk about this for several hours because I heard him talking about this. Technology, digitalization, AI, robotics, data sciences, they will all be an integral and important part of building a future. There is no questions about it. The question is, and I'm going to give you an example, and I will give a lot of credit to Joanne and her team. They started this public panels almost a year ago. It's called Humans and Technology, Humans and Sustainability, Humans and Business, all of those. Humans always come first. It's all about humans. It's not to eliminate humans. It's on the contrary. Whatever we do, whether it's digital banking, whether it is, robots doing a lot of things, humans come first. Humans come first with everything that you talk about, from the diversity, human rights, respect, all of those will have to be there. The prosperity we are creating, it's about the quality of life. It's about sharing it. So all of those should not be forgotten. So the pandemic kind of, as you alluded to, showed us a number of things. Hey, I can do this, without seeing you actually physically. It's efficient. The other day, I was given an address at Tsinghua University at its 110th year anniversary in Beijing. And one of my fellow presenters was president of a university from Japan. The same day, this was at 7 a.m. in the morning, my time, at 6 p.m. the same day, I was doing a similar thing for the United Nations, he for she. And my colleague from Japan was also on that panel. I said, wasn't it great that you and I were in Beijing this morning? Now we are in New York City. And I haven't even, set my foot outside of my office. So that's great. But I should also point out that this is a very recent survey of students in Canada. 75 to 80% of them, they said, regardless of what the situation with COVID is, they want to be back on the university campus. Okay? That doesn't mean that they're going to go back to the classrooms and They want to be with humans. They want to be with fellow students, and we want to be with them. So this is, I hope that will continue. Jackie, I'm a reader, as I said this before. I love history. I have read a lot of books about history of technology and engineering. I know the evolution started right from the invention of the steam engine. But what I like to know, if I could wish one thing, is to come back after I'm gone, 100 years after that, come back just for one day and see what has happened on Earth, and see that humans are still on the driver's seat. So this is, again, to summarize, the technological evolution of our societies is inevitable. It enriches us, but it does not replace, it does not push the humans aside. So those are very important things. And I think both Calvin and myself and other University of Waterloo great success stories, they always ensure that our values in terms of investment in humans, investment in youth, they come first, regardless of how advanced we are technologically.
That was fantastic, Feridun, and I agree wholeheartedly. I think we've entered into a borderless world where we're all connected, as Calvin said, in one way or another. And I think as a Waterloo community, I'd like to end on the note saying that really I feel it's a responsibility to hire more co-op students, because right now we are educating students for jobs that don't even exist yet, but they're about to exist very quickly. And I think that is more true now than it has ever been before. That wasn't really the case when Calvin and I were in school back in the early 2000s. We sort of created our own way and worked with others at first. But now we are creating brand new industries and new roles that these students that are in school and they've already experienced adversity by being in isolation. I think it's really, for the most part, building up their resilience, which Waterloo is also known for. So I'm very excited. And if we were to come back in 100 years, we certainly welcome you back, including ourselves. We'll have to in one
further.
And maybe one of us or all of us will be on Mars at that point, certainly. Right? We'll have the chance to do that, which is such an exciting time in humanity. So I want to say thank you to both of you for your time today, and Calvin, especially for your leadership with the Waterloo community. I know that you are a very sought after person to get in touch with, and you're so busy, and we really appreciate your time and the impact of the work that you've been doing and that's about to be done through the AMTD Scholars Program. It's very exciting. And Feridun, I just have to say, you had big shoes to fill. When I graduated, and it was David Johnston at the time, who was the president when Calvin and I were in school. You had super big shoes to fill, and I remember meeting you in California. I don't know if you remember, but you actually drove myself and a few others home, or back to our hotels. We were all doing a little bit of it was like a traveling around to many different places in LA and other places in San Francisco. And we had such a lovely conversation. I did not know at the time that you were going to be the next president. And I remember we had such a personal conversation, and your energy. I just remember leaving that night and thinking, wow, the energy he has. And so when you were named, my heart was just singing, because I knew that you would bring to the forefront and champion equality, diversity. Everyone gets a voice at the table. And that is just so much you can see in your impact of what you've done. You've accomplished so many things as our president. So thank you so much. We have so much gratitude and appreciation for everything that you have done. And so we really appreciate all of your efforts and your service, really, because you've done your service from the heart. So thank you for all of your efforts.
Thank you so much, Jackie. It's been a great privilege. My comment was, I heard the big shoes to fill. At one point, I said, I respect that very much, but I brought my own running shoes because I needed my running shoes to go to the next step. And I hope I didn't drive too fast that you say I will not drive with the car.
Not at all. But I have to say, to end on that note, you certainly filled them and then some, and I'm sure David would agree as well. So thank you so much to both of you for your time, and everyone for joining us today. I'm going to pass this off to our Vice President of Advancement, Joanne Schoveller.
Thank you so much, Jackie. That was a tremendous session. The energy was, it came right through the screen to us, and we really felt like we were in the room with you. So I'm very grateful. I do want to make some comments about that incredible conversation that we just had. The theme of bridging is so important these days, as Faradin said, and the university has a strong culture. As Jackie noted, we focused on diversity, inclusion, anti-racism with deep commitment for a long time. And Calvin talked about our spirit of openness, our down-to-earth pragmatism and caring for society, while building innovative companies alongside a charitable and strong corporate value presence. Jackie talked about the impact of science. This is an incredible topic for us these days, where we're looking at the innovation arena, the I Institute, the Science Center for Innovation, a long, long list, data innovation, sustainability, and this connection between the East and West and the impact of science is integral to the University of Waterloo, including a new initiative, for example, in eye research, in the Center for Ocular Research and Development that's connected with our new Eye Institute and our vision for the Science Center for Innovation. Calvin emphasized we can no longer think of ourselves as local citizens, but we're now global citizens. And we're looking at these linkages with alumni, with students, and with our various corporations and our co-op students. And now I want to turn to Faradin, because Faradin identified himself as a president born outside of Canada, but truly, I have not met a Canadian as more fierce about the burning pride he has in the potential of our country due to the extraordinary talent we are building. And we reference the AMTD postdoctoral fellows, and that's just an incredible example of people that are doing very diverse work and are diverse in their own backgrounds. As Faradin's presidential decade of impact will be celebrated further in the next few weeks, including a virtual farewell at the event at the end of May 27th, I ask you, please, to consider Jackie's comments that our future takes both the visionaries like Faradin and the philanthropists like Calvin who will fund that vision. So I'm inviting each of you to consider how you might make a statement through your own contribution to initiatives that are honoring Faradin, directly affecting our talented students. There is a link online, if you could look at the side of the page, that will invite you to contribute both ideas, your memories of working with Faradin, and also to contribute to our students, to our campaign for students that is fueling the talent that we have in the future. So in this, I would like to say thank you, Jackie. Jackie, I've now participated twice with you in events. Your enthusiasm is truly infectious. Your belief in the power of Waterloo, in the diversity of our community, in the strength of our community will forge us ahead for a long time to come. So I look forward to seeing you in many events in the future. Calvin, it has been such an honor to work with you, to understand your vision, and to participate in building your philanthropic impact at the University of Waterloo. You refer often to talents. It is something that is deep in your heart and soul, because you understand that the type of talent that is on this call is going to make a difference to our future in an incredible way. And Faradin, it has been such an honor to be serving with you along this journey. You have indeed reached out right across the globe on a daily basis at all hours of the day to build what you believe is a strong national vision and that is tied in with a global vision. And your passion and commitment to that is unrelenting. And for that, we are all on this call very grateful. I want to thank all of our participants. As alumni, as participants with the University of Waterloo, you are engaged and connected, and we are very grateful for the contributions that you make through our Global Alumni Volunteer Network, through hiring our co-op students, through participating in our research, and for really supporting the university in many ways. We invite you to participate in the extended Q&A with our speakers and our president. And you'll see on the left-hand side of your screen that there are sessions so that you can be brought into those Q&A sessions. There is also a cooperative and experiential education session in the expo booth on the left-hand side of your screen, and we ask you to look at that booth and visit it. So, my friends, right across the globe, in all corners of the world, thank you so much for building bridges with us, for participating in this celebratory and most informative event, and we're very grateful for all your time. Be well, stay safe, and keep on building. Thank you.